Breathe, observe, evolve. That is what I like to say, my friends. Welcome to the Conscious Christmas Special. All right, and in this video, we are going to discuss consciousness. What does that really mean? Consciousness. Why are we here? Now, since the beginning of time, religion, whatever, there's been all sorts of different ways of thinking and getting conditioned to what our purpose is. And most of those beliefs and those religions has to do with when we die. If we do certain things on earth, we're good and we go to heaven. Something like that. But what I've learned is consciousness is a little different than that. And we are souls that reincarnate. And if you're watching this video, you probably believe in reincarnations. And if you believe that, we probably didn't come here to work 8, 10, 12-hour days to accumulate things to consume as much as we do. We had a purpose. We had a mission for this lifetime. And part of the game is we forget the veil. And then to enforce that veil, to enforce that separation, then we get taught by our parents, and we throw in some religion and politics and all these different rules, and that enforces that separation even more. And then something happens in our lifetime that makes us wake up. It could be anything. It could be a near-death situation, it could be hitting rock bottom, it could be divorce, it could be all sorts of anything. But it usually happens when you're around 35, 40 years old. And something happens, something cracks, and you start asking the most important questions of your life, like, who am I? What am I doing? Do these things that I'm doing, that I'm striving for, even matter? And so, let's explore that. And let's start from the beginning. Our souls are eternal. And we are a fractal of the divine, of God, the God, consciousness. And our souls decided to take on form, to take on the humanness. That's what I call it. So we're light that chose form, or 3D, third density. Because in spirit world, in consciousness, we couldn't go through what we can now in human form with all the emotions, all the suffering, all the joy, all of it. It can only happen here on earth. And so we chose that. And we chose to forget. And the name of the game is not to be the best we can so we go to heaven. The name of the game is to remember who we are. To start to remember that we're souls, that we're part of the divine. We're not separate. We don't need a middleman. We don't need religion. We don't need a pope. We don't need a president. We don't need any of this stuff because we are part of God. And we've all heard about the Trinity, the mind, body, spirit. It's the mind, body, spirit, soul. And we're all one. And that's what I've been learning this year, to embody that. It's not a concept. I'm living it. And living it, that's what embodiment means. It means that you're actually it. You actually start to live without judgment. You start living in neutrality. You stop judging. You start picking sides. And your identity crumbles until you don't have anything left. That's where I'm at. I'm in the void. I'm in between. Like, I know I have a soul name. I have a human name. And I've lost any identification of my old self. Like, I don't really recognize myself anymore. I don't even look like I do 2 years ago. I actually look younger. I'm 48 young. I just turned 48 like 5 days ago. And it feels chaotic at times. And it feels like I'm depressed, but I'm not. And that's the thing. Like, If I went to a therapist, they would say I'm depressed and I need medication. I'm not. I'm just going through this phase of who am I when I'm no longer me, but I'm conscious about it. And I've just been blessed, so blessed that I've had the time, that I've crafted the time for myself to go through this experience. I relocated my family to Mexico about 1.5 years ago, and it was the best decision I've ever made. It was also the hardest decision I've ever made because I left everything behind. My friends, my family, the community that I started, the safety, the security, all of it. And little did I know when I took that chance, when I surrendered and let go, when I said, I don't give a fuck anymore. That's when everything started happening. That's when I started channeling my soul. And it's anybody can do this. It's about, can we get into that resonant, coherent state? And it's really hard to do when you're scrolling through all sorts of things. When the majority of your day is at a job you don't like, or a relationship you don't enjoy, or you're in front of a screen all day. And we're going to talk about that. When you start focusing on the things that matter, that's when things change. And the only thing that matters is us remembering. It's consciousness, Christ consciousness, or Buddha consciousness, or Hare Krishna, it doesn't matter. It's all the same concept. You remember who you are, that you're not separate. That's what Jesus did. He remembered his divinity here on earth, and he wasn't afraid to die. And so when I say Christ consciousness, I'm not saying a religion or Christianity. I'm talking about a frequency, consciousness. And it's everything opposite of what our world is about right now. And it becomes a choice when you get to a certain point of your spiritual evolution. You get to decide if you choose fear, so-called the matrix, or consciousness, the opposite. And when you start following consciousness, it becomes scary. Your life will unravel. You will lose friends. You will lose family. The majority of the things that you used to like, the majority of the things that used to make you, will dissolve until you don't have anything left. And that has to happen because you're now activating and now operating from a soul perspective. And the entire time until that point, you've been operating from the ego. And the ego is not bad. Your ego is your amigo. We need the ego to evolve here. That's why we have the mind, body, spirit. It's all one. And we need it to give us contrast. And we need polarity, like good or bad opposites, to give contrast to our soul so it can learn. But you'll come to terms with all these different laws of the universe, cosmic laws. And you'll be able to see how things are run without being triggered. So, we have Earth. We chose form. We came down to Earth. We have young souls and new souls. I'm not sure if you understand this concept. New soul, and this is what I've been taught. Take it or leave it. But new souls are ones that have just reincarnated for the first few times on Earth. And you have old souls that have been here hundreds of reincarnations. The older you are as a soul, the more wisdom you have. And the younger souls are going through hell, in a sense, because you got to start somewhere. And for example, if you are a soldier in one of the wars that are going on, you're probably a young soul. You're experiencing death. You're experiencing terror of war. You might be sending soldiers to their deaths. You might be actually the one killing or being killed. Young souls. I've been there many times in my past lives. Actually, in many, many lifetimes, I was part of the military, and I killed a lot of people, and I sent a lot of soldiers to death. And that was part of my evolution, to get out of that and choosing that, and finally choosing. And in a lifetime I chose not to, and I was killed for it because I disobeyed an order. And I don't know if you believe that or not, it doesn't really matter. But that is young and old souls. And when you start to understand these concepts, like really when you start to listen to your body, not your mind is there to confuse you. The ego is there to confuse you. It's part of the game. And when you start letting go of it, things start to make sense, and you just feel, and you just know. There's a knowing when it comes to this information. It's like an 80-20 rule. It's 80% in your body, a knowing, and 20% intellectual. And this is why science will never be able to understand consciousness, because they're always trying to find certainty. They're always trying to find proof. A knowing is a knowing. There's no argument about it. Just, it is what it is. And so we have multiple things. This whole earth is a playground for us to evolve. Fractals of God here to understand, to remember, so we could remember who we are as souls. And when you start remembering, when you get back, when you finally go and crack through, it's liberating. When you stop caring, when you literally understand the game of earth, and you start creating, and you start to live in a place without fear, without doubt, without shame, without greed, without needing anything. Like how many of you guys watching this need things, like needing to be seen, needing someone else, needing certain titles? That's the ego. And when you start operating from the soul, it's all the opposite. And it's a wonderful place to be. But there has to be a destruction of the old self to get to that point, because that's all you know. That's all I knew. The physical. And it doesn't mean that you have to be in a cave. Doesn't mean you have to be poor. It's actually the opposite. When you start to remember who you are, like you can't be poor. I have to say that again. It's impossible to be poor when you remember that you are part of God. It's impossible. Because the love, like when you embody that, you'll understand that you have everything you possibly need. And so if you're poor, and understand that it's a choice. And the few people I know that have gone through this, they're not poor. They actually have everything they possibly need. They actually have lots of money. You just would never know, because they don't care about the Ferraris and they don't care about these things, but they live very, very nicely. And for me, I don't have a lot of money right now, but I have everything I could possibly want. Possibly. And so, and I only say that because it's so difficult to go through this experience. And this is why I'm making these videos. And this is why I'm sharing my scrolls, because I started embodying my soul. I started getting these scrolls. And these scrolls are activations, they're words. But words are spells, and words are frequencies. And when you listen to it over and over and over again, they start activating, you start to remember things about your soul, about consciousness. And it's not intellectual. It's not like, oh yeah, I remember this. It's like naturally you're like, oh, maybe I should try this. Oh man, I'm a narcissist. I didn't even know it. It could be a bunch of just spontaneous things that happens when you activate the soul, because the soul is always there. We just have forgotten. We live in here. And this is why I really am a big proponent on breathwork, because it is the fastest way to get into a meditative state so you can connect with your soul. And so if that's something you want to know more about, then just click the link in the bio and sign up. I got a free training. I got a community on Mondays that actually take you into a breathwork session and read the scrolls so you can bypass the mind. And that's really what awakening is you bring out the observer self. The observer self is the one, I call it behind. It's the one observing your thoughts, observing your emotions, triggers emotion, like observing your beliefs, observing the ego, observing the soul. It's just observing. And the more we breathe, the more it comes out. So we're here to remember what we see, what we hear, and what we speak about is what creates our reality. And this dives into quantum physics, quantum entanglement mechanics. What we see and hear, we eventually believe. Our attention is the new currency, and this is why everybody's glued to their screens. Because if they can convince you that the world is unsafe, and you believe it, you're trapped. The majority of the world is addicted to screens. And the human mind can't differentiate what is real. And so you start building biases, you start building fears, judgments about how you see the world. From policies, politics, trade, humans, wars. They're all constructed through screens. There is a war, the war's on your mind. Let go of the screens and you create a new reality. The more awareness you bring into your lives of like what you want to create. From your family to conscious work, everything in your life you get to create. But when we're stuck in these limits, these labels, these ideas, politics, it skews our reality. And if that's all we think about, then guess what? The algorithm of life, not just Google's, but the algorithm of life will keep repeating and keep reinforcing what you believe. And this is reality in a nutshell. Choose to focus on consciousness. If you don't believe in war, don't participate in it. Don't talk about it. Don't watch it. Don't listen to it. Don't have a discussion about it. If you don't want us to have poverty, don't talk about it. Do something about it with yourself. Let go of the need to do or to talk or watch anything that has anything to do other than consciousness. Your reality will change. It's terrifying to let go of all that certainty, but your life will change. I know people that are doing it. I am doing it. When you stop participating in the matrix. And the matrix is any entity, corporation, person, any system in place that relies on fear, doubt, coercion for control. And when you stop participating with it and you just start choosing, that's creation. To literally understand the power that you have. The power, your true power, when you realize that you are part of God in human form. It's not about death, because death is just another new beginning. It's understanding, remembering who you are, and start to create in the eyes of God. So think about that. What do you want to create? What do you want to create for the remainder years of this human experience? What if you didn't have any limitations? Imagine if you didn't have all the limitations that your parents and society put on you. What would you do? What if you were tied to your job or your things? What would you do for the next 10, 20 years of your life? And I say that with all love because it's a choice. Ego wants certainty. Ego wants control. Ego wants safety. Ego wants comfort. Ego wants to blame, judge, but conscious doesn't. You're gonna have to face your fears. The ego wants you to the ego wants you to be in fear. And the soul doesn't. The soul wants to liberate that, but you have to go through it. You have to go through the flame. So what do you want to do? How do you want to build the new earth? Because you're gonna have to let it go. You have to let all of it go to create something new. And every time you say, I can't, or how is this possible? That's the ego. Consciousness is magic. Consciousness is God. Anything can happen. You've got to dissolve all the illusions, all the nonsense, all that I can'ts, all the disempowering things that we've been taught about the world. It's not true. And it's time to remember. That's it. Merry Christmas, wherever you're at, however you celebrate it. I don't celebrate Christmas, but it's Christmas. I spend time with my family and I love it. I still have a Christmas tree, but no Santa Claus, no nothing. Just gratitude and love for this human experience that I get to experience and that I get to teach my children, my young children. So much love, my friends. Peace out.